Let's get ready. Hello, everybody. So, what are we doing? Hell, we got a lot of stuff to do. There is Bitboi. It is Saturday. We are NES coding, and we are going to have a blast with CC65. So, yeah, we even have a today command, as Cam just pointed out, which is something new. So, this is going to be, well, yeah, look at our bot. Look at our bot growing up. Oh, look at our bot. Ah, that's so cute. And we even have our stream coming through again on the stream. So that's kind of fun. So, yeah, where we left off last time, we had gotten a 2x3 sprite, sort of Super Mario style, of Bitboi working. Our main character. He's a little bit large compared to the original design relative to the size of the enemies, but all right, well, whatever. You got to take a little bit. Yeah, 715, I did not get a chance to debug the mic. Since Saturdays are a little bit more casual, I think let's just take one crack at that. How do y'all feel about maybe a little bit of mic fixery? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to slide this up, and you give me a better or worse. So let me adjust it. All right. How is that? Is that better? Is the mic still hot? Is it like distorty? Not loud enough? Maybe this is better. Let me know, 715. You are the master audio arbiter here. So we definitely thank you everybody who was giving me some feedback on this sounds good. So I take it this is better than what it was before. Yeah, thank you for giving me the feedback on the first Power Hackers session. So that was kind of fun on Wednesday night. So we have, can I say something loud? Loud. Is that loud? Is that loud enough for you? I hope I didn't blast anyone's ears out. But yeah, tell me how that is like distorty magic-y. So I'm trying a little more gain on the mic. Yeah, there's still something at the loud part. It still seems to get a little edgy when you get loud. Okay, here, let me, but is like the normal talking volume kind of a little bit better? Because this seems to be a better mix. Let me pull this back a little bit. This might actually be, okay, talking sounds fine. All right, that's good to know. So anyway, I don't want everybody to have to sit through and debug the audio stream. So we could set that up for another night if everybody wants to do that. That sounds like about as much fun as filling out paperwork. So anyway, but yeah, keep the feedback coming. Maybe I can sneak in a little adjustment here or there as we go. So anyway, we were working on collision detection. We got our 2x3 working, and we added a little bit of collision detect, so we were able to detect when it went one side or the other or down. We picked a magic point on each of those sides, so we're only collision detecting a single point. And I was trying to kind of keep it simple, so that'll give up a little bit of accuracy in the simulation, but I think we're not super concerned with like a super accurate physics engine for this. But so for today, the problem we had was that the character was sort of sinking where I left it off last time. The character would hit a platform and then sort of sink into it, and then they'd be stuck. So you can't move anything because you're already colliding because you're inside the thing. So I decided to take it a step at a time before the show, and I just debugged moving down. And hey, what's up, Dr. Dirt? Welcome back. I just debugged moving down and just tried to get it so that when the character would fall down, he would stand on the platform as opposed to falling into the platform, because that's sort of good enough for us to get to work on physics stuff, because then we can start adding jumps. Yeah, hey, it's good to see you too. It's nice to see that little sub badge going on there too. Are you sure you're not using the headset mic instead? I don't know. Let me look. It says it is definitely taking the AT2020 USB Plus as the audio source. So I'm guessing that's telling the truth. I don't know. It could be another OBS bug. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing is kind of suspicious because like the mic is really high quality. So I definitely feel like it's something I've got with the setup. If anything, it sounds really good. Okay. All right. Well, I guess this is better. For this, I just sort of turned the hardware gain up and tried to back off the software gain. So I think that's already an improvement. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, all right. So that's kind of where we left it, and that's where we're going to go. So I'm going to cut over to coding screen here, and we have this beautiful website that is so much better than the one that we had before. And as you all know, I'll be putting the Power Hackers series. I try to follow with the episode content here on the website. And I have not loaded the Power Hackers series yet, but it's going to show up here, kind of when we get around to that. So that shouldn't be too long. And I do have another great show coming on Wednesday night. That's going to be with Bogdan. So he is the one that built the 60s television that we mentioned last week. And him and I are going to be working on the 418 HTTP response code. We're going to be going a little bit in detail on that. So I'll tell you more about that for those of you who show up on Tuesday night for the Learn session. But that's coming up Wednesday. Very excited about that. I think Bogdan's pretty excited too, last time I talked to him. So anyway, this is the C stuff that we're doing. And again, for those of you kind of new, we basically, and I'll just be bouncing screens here on the left, but this main.c that I was just showing you, this is going to be compiled by the CC65 compiler, which targets the 6502. Oh, and by the way, I saw in a previous stream that I was cutting off the bottom line. So let me know if that happens, if you can't see something that's in the window. CC65 is a C compiler, kind of optimized, aiming at 6502 stuff. And it's paired with CA65, which is the assembler for 6502. So what CC65 does is it outputs the assembly version of the C source code. Here's all of the bytes that I had in memory. Here's all the routines. And this is kind of nice because you can see this line of C code turned into this line of assembly. Then I went this line of C code and that turned into these lines of assembly. So we could actually stay with the assembly as we're going and try to save ourselves some time in C. And we can always fix things in the assembly if we don't like how it's getting assembled. So this allows us to sort of tune it. CC65 doesn't have the same level of optimizations that GCC and LLVM do these days. So occasionally we're going to end up with code. And sometimes one of the main things I like about this isn't so much tuning the assembly. It's more of seeing how it gets assembled and then going, oh, I didn't realize I was paying for that much by using this abstraction. So it's really nice in that regard because you can see what you're up to in terms of getting actual compiled code. From there, we run it into CA65, which turns it into object code for the 6502. So in this case, it would turn into main.o. So you can see that this is a 6502 object, and then that gets linked together, LD65, with all of the other object files, including the assembly that we were messing around with a little bit last time. The nest lib here, and some of the tile map that I had there. Hey, what's up, Marco? How you doing? Good to see you back. Marco knows all this stuff. He could tell you. So, yeah. So let's start off with where we left things. So we had a little bit of fun with this. So I just quickly changed a little bit of this level just to make sure that I was debugging, and I didn't like the fact that Bitboi was starting off the level. So his top left is actually on the bottom, and then there's this V-blank region, and I wasn't sure if the V-blank region was causing issues or what. So and by the way, Cam, thank you for dropping that in the Discord. I totally forgot to mention in the Discord that we went live. It's good to have good mods. Hey, what's up, Stonks? How you doing? Stonks7903. So we let's get back to our NES coding. So you'll notice there's the big change right there. I take the character. I'm still jetpacking because I don't actually have real physics yet. I'm going to just shut that off so we don't double see the chat. And it hits the platform and he stands on the platform. And now I can actually move because you'll notice the collision detect isn't going off when I'm sitting still. So if I press down, you can see this center 1 show up because I'm actually colliding on the down direction. But if I go if I'm just standing on the platform, I can now move left or right. So that's a huge improvement over the bug we had last time. And that is what made me optimistic about today. And by the way, you're still seeing the Y position over here. So the top left corner is at the 7th pixel, just before he's about to hit the 8th pixel and roll into the next tile, which is actually how I debugged that he was falling down. So turns out on-screen debugging, still useful. So stonks and chonks. Yeah, we do like chonk in here. That was a great picture you had there, Cam. So, all right, we're still jetpacking around, and you'll notice that like the collision detection is a little wonky. That it basically depends on whether or not I hit the magic place on Bitboi where we're actually doing the collision detect. We're just doing a single pixel on the bottom, single pixel on the left, and a single pixel on the right. So, and I think I aligned it to the bottom. So yeah, you'll notice that like, okay, it might actually even be in the middle. I forget where it was on the right. So you can see that I'm colliding here, even though there's like a couple of pixels of gap here. So we could tighten up that collision skeleton if we want, but for right now, with just 3 dots, I mean, let's just keep it simple. All right, so that's our current low grain one. So we can detect. We notice that we get a collision here on the right, and we can get a collision on the left. Now, again, both of these I did not fix, so they still have that sort of like off by 2 issue that we were mentioning. So Bitboi is currently running off the screen, which is not so good. But that's all right. I'm not as concerned with the left-right collision as I was with the down collision, because if the down collision was wrong, it's going to be the same trick to fix both of those. But if the down collision was wrong, we can't jump because it's always going to start with you're colliding with something. So that meant that we had no physics we could do unless I just, added 1 magically every time. So anyway, that's kind of our starting point. Let's get going from there. So this was do level. So the only one, I had 3 separate collision detects. Now that I'm starting to have confidence that one of these works, which is the set if collides bottom, what I'll probably do is off stream, I'll probably just refactor both of these so the left and the right collide. I'll just kind of throw them out and use the single collision and then just adjust the magic point so that, wherever the collision point is that it's going to detect, that'll be what it checks, and then I can just have one working function and not deal with all this copy pasta stuff. But when we're live coding and we're not really sure what's working and what isn't, this was I'm going to be more likely to go and write more code and try to be more careful. All right, so that's neat. I also had some additional complexity because initially, to speed things up, I was moving the character by 2. But when you're adding 2 and then you're colliding and you're not sure if you're on or not, like that all added a lot of complexity. So I just slowed the character down. Let's get back to something that works. So we slowed it down to moving by 1 and then detecting collision on every move. This is in C. Yes, it's mostly in C. We'll be also cutting over to the assembly occasionally just to see what's happening here. So I drop out the intermediate assembly as we go, and we can kind of keep an eye on how the thing's getting assembled. It's nice doing it this way because we can write faster than just writing everything in assembly. Doing everything in assembly is definitely slower. Anyway, and I added a build. I'm also taking care of a few other things in the build script, so I have some level packing and some other fun stuff. So that's like here, I'm doing like the level packing, dropping it into the .h file. I'm eating up some memory with that. So there's some things in there that we can clean up. And I sort of started doing it the right way here with the Bitboi character by packing it into a just straight binary file, this .char. And then I actually include that in the char ROM. So this actually assembles into the char ROM on the final version. We could see that actually if we pull that up on the PPU view. So this is better packing, right? We want the stuff that's like tile related all ending up in the character ROM and not ending up in the very limited memory we have on the NES. But we'll get to that later. Right now, we have tons of memory. There's a whole, like, I don't know, 100K or so free. So that's kind of the fun of working on one of these old platforms. And you can see the two schlorps. I left the space for these are the enemies. So these at symbols here correspond to this enemy, and then these C symbols here, they correspond to this enemy. In reality, they're going to be the same enemy sprite. I just wanted to make sure that we had some room, reserved for them. I'm also going to need to move all this over because Bitboi here, this is only one animation frame of Bitboi. I want at least 2 walking steps, so that probably means I'm going to have to change this tile as well. So we're gonna need a few more blocks here before we go on. Okay, I watched a few mini docs about the development of Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, and they said at one point the devs switched from exclusively assembly to a blend of that and C, and we're having problems with it. Yeah, I mean, back when they were doing it, I don't even know if they were probably writing their own C compiler. I mean, the tools at that point were all closely guarded secrets. So it would have been a heck of a lot more challenging than it is now. I mean, these days, like CC65 is pretty good and it's a known thing. Calling out, I actually gave an example of calling out last time. It's actually really straightforward from C into assembly. So to try to save time, I mean, until we know that something is going to be a problem, I'm just going to try to write the naive C version so that we get through the entire game. And then if we notice that things are starting to get slow or choppy or whatever, then I'll start hand assembling. We could start working with the assembly directly at that point. So that's kind of the approach I want to take. But as much as possible, I want to try to stay in C just because it's a lot easier to write, and it's a lot easier to write correctly, I should say. Like any given assembly instruction is a heck of a lot simpler than a line of C, just in terms of complexity, but it's a lot easier to make mistakes. So, I guess I could build a micro Python interpreter if I really wanted to work at a high level, but that seems to be kind of like totally against the spirit of running on an NES. Aside from that might just be a fun hack in general. I wasn't suggesting you change, just a neat video. Oh yeah, and by the way, Cam, drop, if you do see something like that would be fun to drop in like the code channel over on Discord. So for anybody who doesn't know, you can check out and share programming mysteries or whatever. I have some code WTF fun, some good programming memes over on the Discord, so feel free to drop by. All right, so that's where we're going. I'm glad that I got away from hand building the sprites here. I mean, this was I was literally writing out the binary for the sprite front plane and back plane. And so I'm glad we got away from that and we got our little tile editor to work with PicoPixel. So I think the first order of business is let's get a level that's a little bit more interesting. I mean, this isn't really going to happen. We're not going to use this type of staircase, like one block staircase in a real game. Partially because, I mean, it's nasty on the collision detect, but partially just because, like, I don't know. I don't think jumping on a staircase like this is particularly fun. It's a lot more fun to play around on platforms, and that's kind of closer to the original design. He had a little bit in the original design. So the game was originally built in GameMaker. I forget which version, GameMaker Studio. And I think he had a little bit of this type of stuff going on. So let's just keep a little bit and let's get rid of the mountain here and, add ourselves a few other things. So I'm just going to cut over to PicoPixel here. And this is our level design. Nice thing we got to do this graphically because we built something that converts the PNG to something that can fit into ROM. So that was a fun bit of code. Again, trying to speed up our workflow a little bit, and I'm throwing away a little bit of memory to do that. But all right, so let's get to kind of the first part of that, which is we want the, we want this stuff gone. So let's let's level this out so that our plane is a little more sane. We're going to add in some, I think a little bit of bumps. I think one of his original levels had the bumps, kind of some road block stuff here. And I think we need to go and make it so that you can't run off the side. I mean, that's already nasty in terms of collision space, but I mean, let's actually just go ahead and block that. We're not really worried about going through the side of the world at this point. So I think I want to say we have one more pixel up there. Yeah, we do. Okay, so we'll drop that and we'll drop that. All right, so we're going to close our world. And that's going to leave the character stuff showing up over the top here, but that's okay at the moment. You have an excess of memory anyway. Nice one, Cam. Okay. I think that means that, oh, and by the way, I also forgot to mention that we have a whole bunch of new music thanks to the hard work of Coffee with the crew. So I want to check out some of these new songs. I've never actually coded with any of them yet. So we're going to try just early versions of a lot of this stuff that, there's some stuff I wrote. There's some stuff that he wrote. We'll just put them all on play and we'll see what we like. Let me know if the volume is going to be too high on this stuff too. So I'll just turn it down for a moment. Okay. It's a little crazy. That might be loud. It is too loud. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, is that too quiet? It does have a big intro on that song, actually. Yeah, let me know if I should adjust that. Can hear it now. Okay, cool. This is, oh, can't hear it now. Sorry. Okay. Somewhere between those two. All right, let's go for like here. I feel like that's sort of middle range there. All right. And let's go. That's decent. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's check out some of these new tunes. Oh, and just a quick shout out for the dude. This is from Coffee with the Crew. All right, so yeah. Now let's go back to our fun over here. And I think let's just add a little bit. Let's make this like kind of a shallower staircase here. And I'm just gonna toss this stuff. And yeah, the bot is totally getting better, Cam. Those of you who don't know, the bot got coded live on stream one day, so it's definitely a work in progress. There's no doubt about that. All right, so we have some of that. I think we have a little too many platforms up here in the air, so let's just add ourselves. Let's do like a jump to a slightly harder jump up here. Is that too easy? Am I making this too easy? All right, and then I don't know, we'll go a little. I do want some collision problems that we're going to need to deal with. Like, so for example, what happens if the character jumps and bumps his head? So this might be good little test area up here for that. So we'll just throw a pencil. Yeah. All right, so that looks all right. Our slorps are still sitting on this platform over here. That's okay. I think this is probably a tough jump. Well, all right, we're going to need to tune our physics to see what kind of experience we want to get. And I think this probably is all right here. And give something to sort of jump off of up here. This might be too far, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. So we have all that, and then we're going to have room over here for the doorway, and this will be cutting through later. So we're going to deal with that later. For now, I'm just going to sort of block it off so that we know where it goes. All right. So let's save that. And then let's just drop a copy of it as a PNG. Okay, so sure you want to replace this beautifully designed level? Yes. Okay, so cutting back over here, this should be as easy as make and make run, but I've got to quit the current one. Okay. Okay, look at that. Just imported with ease, didn't we? All right, I think we've got a little too much bottom stuff over here. So like, I think we're gonna want to cut that, move this bottom level down a bit. Some of these other features, they're looking okay. We're gonna have to move the schlorps here, but we'll worry about enemy movement some other time. As for the numbers, I'm just gonna, for the moment, just cut them out so that we have somewhere to kind of hang them in our UI. So that starts, let's see, so if I start at the 8th one, we should be all right there. So let's go back here and so I'm just going to make this the space, and we're going to leave 3 for this and 3 for that. Okay, so that gives us a little UI room. And then let's just pull this bottom section down. So I'm gonna just delete like all this stuff down here. So that would be this area. And I think we'll take that a little bit further. So that might be too thick for a world, because we're also going to have the border block on the bottom. So let's just take all that, and then we're going to try to figure out how this works again in PicoPixel. I always screw this up. So we're going to take this stuff and we're going to try to move it. Oh, sweet. Works the way it's supposed to. Okay. And we're going to take this stuff. Actually, let's get that right. And we're going to move that as well. Okay. So that gives us a little geometry to work with. I'm going to leave the schlorps up here for the second, which they're here. So this is, we're going to get rid of that, and let's just extend this a little bit so he's not hanging out in thin air here. I put him on the edge for some reason. And we'll just get rid of some of this. Now there's no way to kind of get up at the moment. This looks like too much of a jump. So I'm just going to move this down, and then we'll move this down. All right, I don't know how much we want to, I think the easy thing to do is we'll just add ourselves a platform. is a bit of a silly set of jumps, but anyway, that'll put us into the right area for coming up here, and then we could just pull all this stuff down. All right, that looks fine. Okay, so man, I'm loving we got all this new music. Oh, that's it. That's a great coding tune right there. Okay. Oh, right. This has that motif. Nice. Okay, so let's dump this out again. We're gonna save it. We're gonna export it, and we're gonna rebuild it. And to do that, we're gonna come over here, and we're just gonna let's grab this and rebuild it. Okay, so now we've got our UI elements are actually not being overwritten by background tiles. Oh, nice. Yeah, stonks. Let's throw a quick wave in there. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I don't like how close this clearance is because I feel like we're going to be dealing with bugs sooner than I want to. So just real fast, I'm going to just move that platform back a little bit. All right, so let's see if I can just do that. We don't need to cut over. I'm going to take that and move it here. But we need some way to get up there, so I'm just gonna chop this block a little bit. And that should be good. All right, so we'll take that and you'll get to see it. So we're just gonna save that and export it. Cool. So we replace that and we quit our emulator. Yeah, see, I feel like this is going to be a little easier to work with until we debug head bouncing, if we even want to deal with that at all. All right, so we got to get this location as sort of our starting point. So this looks like 191. So let's get Bitboi moved. All right, that's enough. That's enough art stream from a programmer. So yeah, let's what is it, sprite? I always forget where I think it's in, I wanted to say it was in do level. Oh, draw player. That's what we cleaned this up. I forgot, we totally cleaned up this code the other day. I have arrived to learn OpenGL. Nice, OpenGL's got some fun parts. I wish I could use Vim so efficiently. Yeah, it's just a learning curve, right? I mean, Vim has like a super long learning curve, but like the motion is just so great. I mean, once you get Vim style motion, it really just speeds you up a lot. The trade-off is you have to memorize a whole bunch of keystrokes. There was actually a Vim. If this helps you, if you're kind of new to Vim, I don't know what level you're at, but there was a Vim tutor game. Tutor game. Is it this one? Yeah, this is actually what I used to kind of come back to Vim. I was actually using I was mostly using IDEs at the time when I came back to it, but this is just like, it gives your character like a little bit of, it's a little more fun than just learning straight in the editor. And it's good for like the basic motion. And then like as you sort of advance, you'll probably just be hitting the help directly more often. But this, you kind of like take this character and you move them through this maze and you do some simple edits, and it's just a nice thing. I don't know how much it's advanced, and I haven't seen it in a while, but it'll get you going with that. I used Vim Tutor as built in. It's not always the... Yeah, I find that like learning it in the built-in method, I was hard. I think that onboard and the learning curve for Vim is really steep. I mean, once you kind of get the flow, it's like super fast. But okay, so this character is basically starting off wherever I left sprite X and sprite Y. So all I need is wherever these begin, and I think they default up here. No. Oh, you know what? I default them in the other file. They're in globals. I was just trying to pull all that nonsense. I hate having a file called globals, but so here's sprite X and sprite Y. Okay, so we're gonna this was the top left debug area. So we'll go with I think, let's see, 12.191. So that seems to be just before it's going to roll into the next tile. All right, let's take a look at that. Probably can pull Bitboi back a little bit. Start it over here. All right, so let's close this and get that back. Okay, so Bitboi's down here in the bottom left, right at a collision point. So might not want to have started exactly there, but that's what it is. Okay, so this course looks a little more like believable. So what we need to do today is we need to take this jump motion. So right now I'm using the jump key, not the up arrow, to actually get Bitboi to, you know, do some sort of parabolic type thing. So this is like, all right, we're jumping, we landed. We're jumping, we landed. So I'm gonna burn a variable as state. We can later use a bit, but for now, we're gonna have something like unsigned char is jumping. And we're gonna start off is jumping. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna say it always starts off jumping and then it detects a collision to stop. Okay, so that's getting a little fancy, isn't it? Well, I guess we can work on the downside of the jump. We're probably going to need a little more state because we're going to need to know which part of the jump. I mean, so if we're worried about physics, I mean, we have sort of like falling, but we don't know if there's enough force going up. So we'll worry about that state for that in a minute. Let's worry about the falling side of the jump. All right, so we're going to come down. I'm probably going to use a table because we don't want to be like multiplying out physics stuff as we keep going. Oh, I have a Kinesis and EEPROM programmer setting in my Amazon basket, trying to get the courage to pull the trigger on it. Yeah, well, you know, don't spend too much on stuff if you're not ready to. I look at that, by the way, Cam, as like the longer stuff sits in a box after I get it, the more I didn't need to buy it when I did. Like, wait until you're ready to do something with it. I mean, there's no question that like you're probably going to use those, especially with the 6502. So if you were already doing the 6502 hardware stuff, so I'm surprised you actually been holding off on it. All right, so let's see. Draw player. So what we're doing each frame is we're going to have to like move the physics. So let's say apply physics will be our routine where we sort of have to figure all that stuff out. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it in here because I don't know if we're going to need any of these variables. So yeah, putting it on hold at the start of semesters. Yeah, you always think you're going to have more time than you do, and then, you know, it's like the worst case, you'll waste a little bit of time, but like, you know, after a transition like that, figure out what the new normal looks like in terms of like, you're really going to have time to work on something. All right, so let's say if is jumping is true, then we're going to apply physics. So let's say that if the collision happens, oh, Onizer, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. So let's go pull that back up. So I put this in level bit that matters. So let's just say if we have any collision here, then you know what, we could do that up there. Let's say collides bottom. So this is the case where it doesn't, and this is the case where it does. So this means that collision is happening. So we're going to say is jumping is stopping. Okay, and let's apply that to the other collisions as well. So we'll just make that the same. I know we're going to refactor that later. And then if is jumping is 1, so that'll get us back to our 0 state. If we are jumping, then for now, let's just always assume that the character is going down. So we're going to say sprite y gets 1 added to it. We'll worry about getting this to be a parabola later. So, you know, to do parabola. Okay, so we're going to go with simple Aristotelian physics for the moment. So, see, it's fine as long as you have a name for it, right? You totally get away with that. I should change the comment to do. Stop it with the Aristotelian physics. What did Aristotle call it? It's like a moving force. It's like the original, it was pre-inertia, you know, it was like, it has so much like moving force and then it just falls. It's like everything's a triangle. All right. Okay. So here, oh, you know what? We only detect for collision. We only detect for collision when we do a movement. So I would have to be holding down to actually get that to work. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix that. So, no problem, my dude. Just started a CS program, so trying to spread the love. Much appreciated. That, by the way, check out our Discord if you have CS questions. That's we do that. Let's see. I'm in a situation where I really need a keyboard. If I spend 100, I feel like 300 for a good project. Isn't that crazy? At the same time, I feel like I'm making up something expensive. Yeah, I mean, there's always like a business calculation. Like, okay, is this worth it? And in the case of a keyboard, you're talking about a tool for your professional career. So I think that's kind of more of a no-brainer. If you're talking about like an EEPROM or, you know, like an eraser or programmer or something like that, like it's more like, are you really going to be using that? Is it going to make you better at what you do? Probably. Is that the best spend of money? You know, there's like more of a business calculation there. That's a tougher question to answer if you're trying to decide whether or not it's like worth it. 小面条你好谢谢 following me. So that's cool. I haven't seen pinyin written in a while. So all right, let's go with, let's see, what were we doing? Before we were hearing how terrible my Mandarin is, we are doing this. So our problem was that is jumping right now, the only place we're detecting it is when we're moving, and that's not going to work anymore. So that means we need to detect this anytime. So it's pad down or is jumping. Is jumping is 1. So set if it collides bottom. That means it's always going to be trying to apply downward force because of this. But we'll worry about that in a sec. Let's see if that puts us kind of more on the right track. So this, I'm going to drop this for the moment. So we're going to see what that does. Okay, so, all right, now it's detecting. I'm going to blow some more CPU, but we're still not, okay, so we're not actually jumping. So we're not starting that we're jumping. Okay, so let's get that party started. Now, that's, and I actually have a jump that is, let's see, this is left, right. Where do I actually do the pad? Okay, this is the jump right here. So we didn't collide anything in that case. So here we're going to say we're automatically starting a jump. Is jumping. Is this C or plus plus? This is definitely C. We're doing C for Nintendo, eventual assembly onto a Nintendo Entertainment System. Hot coffee, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. Okay, so get that running, and we run in here. So now when we try jumping, look at that. We automatically return. Hey, look at this. Okay, now obviously there's some problem. Now this by the way, that's a bug on the left-right collision. I'm off by 1 in the event that the tile is, it doesn't quite check the right X position. So I'm only checking the Y position right now. It's like it's off by 1 here. It's just that it's not detecting a collision until I do my jump. All right, so we're gonna have to fix that later. But now this is, jumps don't really work this way. We don't get to hold jump. That's more of jetpack mode. But what's neat is that this is totally, yeah, there's the start of our physics. All right, now I'm fine with the fact that you can, okay, see, that's not right. You can run off the side. So we're gonna need that to work. Yeah, that's a problem. So is the end goal to do collision check during blanking period? I think this is during blanking period. No, it's not. Okay, so here is where I'm waiting for the blank. So this is where the V blank is happening. For those of you who don't know, the V blank is the bottom of the screen on the Nintendo. That's the one place where you can update the sprite information. So if you're going to do physics, you want to do it before the blank, because what you can do is you can set up memory to say, this is what I want you to do graphics wise, and then when you hit the V blank, do the graphics stuff. So you don't need to actually wait for V blank to do your physics. You can do all your physics while the scan is happening from top to bottom, and then down here at the bottom you can apply any graphics updates, which is kind of what I'm doing over here. I don't really want any code happening, like logic code happening in the V blank interval if I can avoid it. Okay, I'm getting flashbacks. Flashbacks of Load Runner, very nice. Yeah, well, it means we're off on the right foot, doesn't it? Look at my pun, visual pun. We're off on the right foot. Okay. It is the right foot. It's literally the right foot. Okay, that's the most pun I've been in a long time. Hey, I'm an amputee and literally use that all the time. Wow. That is a highly specialized set of humor. I like where you're going on that. All right, so let's see, what are we doing? All right, so we have, yeah, which bug do we want to go after first? So I think moving right, let's detect if we're going down as well. Actually, no, let's detect. Yeah, we basically have to check it, right? So in this case, this is all fine because this tests whether or not like we're hitting something on the right. But what we also need to check is whether we've walked off the platform. So like in the case that I was just showing where, excuse me, we're moving off the left side of the platform, we're going to have to detect if we're hitting something on the left, but then we're also going to have to detect if there's no ground below us. So let's do that. So the simple way to do that is, all right now we're checking that, but what we can do is we can do this same check over here. So let's leave that alone, and then we'll say, you know, test if we walked off a platform. So we'll just check if there's collision below, and if there's collision below, so it's not equal to 0, then let's just say is jumping. You now moved into a jumping state. All right, so we'll check that with left, and then we'll worry about right. Okay, so we jump up here. No, we're moving left. Oh, yeah, it's not checking it. Okay, so I have a feeling I have something wrong with my if logic. Okay, so if collides bottom happens, this is not equal to 0, then we should be doing that. Is jumping goes to 1, and then I'm gonna just close this up. So let's see, but then we check if it's right, and if it's right, okay, so this is where I think we have a logic problem, because if it's right, in the case that this is the case where we're not colliding. So we're resetting level bin bit. Okay, so that's still okay. We're not going to reset is jumping. And in the case where it is colliding, then we're going to check it again. We're going to say, because is jumping is now 1. So we're going to see if it collides below. And yeah, then this should actually fall through. Huh. I'm missing something here. So as long as I'm still holding, so forget about when I'm holding pad. We're not worried about that. We want the is jumping stuff to start kicking in. Oh. Right. I think that's probably what we're doing wrong. So I disabled the physics here because I forgot what I was doing. Because here, so that means, no, it's still working, right? Did I not clean this build? All right, what did I do here? Did that rebuild? Yeah, it totally did. Okay, we did rebuild. That works. No. Okay, and it's showing that there's no collision hit. So this should actually be falling. So there's something I'm missing there. Let's just look back through is jumping here. So we're is jumping. Okay, so right now, I'm letting it fall through to here. Wait a minute, no, that's, all right, this is the problem right here. Because right now I'm counting on this to do the work of moving the character down. But I'm not gonna hit here because I've reset it. All right, I test for the collision. So I'm double testing for the collision. So I double test for the collision to see if there's anything below it. So it decides no, there's nothing below it, it should fall. Okay, so this is not getting triggered. So or is jumping is equal to 1. Well, here, let's try the simple thing first, which is let's put back this, because this might kick in on the other case. It'll move extra fast down, but that's okay. Yeah, it's moving too fast down. Okay. Yeah, see, that's still not triggering. Okay, so it's not that. Let's undo that. And load runner. Nice one, Cam. Let's take a look at that. We'll channel the load runner. Oh, yeah. So this is going with tiny sprites, so we're already going crazy with our 2x3, comparatively speaking. But yeah, look, they even have 2 different tiles for the blocks. Man, this game used to be so much fun. All right. Okay, so let's figure out why we're not getting into this if. Why are we not getting into this if? So in the case that I was just testing was we press left and well, you know, the dumb thing we could do is we could always set it. So we could just say anytime you move left, we're just going to assume you're jumping. All right, so and it works. All right, so our problem is actually in that second condition. Interesting. Okay, so this is what's not triggering. So there could be a bug in here, but let's see for the moment. Let's say that we do that. Set if collides bottom. So I have a feeling that I only always test this. I don't remember what I wrote in there in the other case. Let's just start with the 0. So if it collides bottom, then is jumping is going to be no. Otherwise, let's set is jumping to true. All right. So we do that, and let's see if that gets us to the right place, or if the problem really is in that collision detect. All right, so we're here. Nope. Yeah, it's definitely in that collision detect. Okay, so this probably has to do with some state thing, but for now, I don't really care if we just assume that you're just jumping. So something's wrong with this. I'm just going to say we'll leave that as a to-do. To-do. Figure out why bottom collision detect is a miss. Here. All right, so something's definitely wrong. I have a feeling that it's going to be like, oh, I like this song. Actually, like all of them, but I have a feeling it's like I'm counting on state of one of these variables to like be something else, and I'm not doing it because I've never called it from this particular case. So anyway, we're not going to worry about that for now because that's probably not going to be a fun bit. We can always look into that later if we want. All right, so for now, anytime we're on a pad left, we're assuming that you're in a jump. So I guess if we want to be more like actual physics, what we can start to do is say we can track velocity and then just keep applying gravity to it. So you're either in a situation where, actually, you could just always apply gravity to it, but that means that we're going to do a lot of trivial calculations down. But we'll, yeah, all right. I'm going to, for now, just punt on it. Let's get a little further. Let's add the same logic to right moves. All right, so we're gonna come up here and we fall off on the right side. So that's neat. We're jetpacking, and now forget about the off by one. I'm not worried about that, but that's bad. That should have, oh, that's the off by one again because this platform's only one big. Okay, but this, see, so we're good here. This is all fine, but we fall off this side and we're not hitting. All right, so we are hitting the off by one there. All right, see, I can come all the way to the edge of this platform and I fall through the last tile. Okay, so that's definitely my off by one. All right, that's gonna get annoying, isn't it? So maybe we should just fix that. All right, so we come up here. This is fine, this is fine. That was not so fine, jumping into a platform, but we'll deal with that later. This is fine. This is, we shouldn't be hitting the schlorps. And we fall down here, we're good. We can walk through the end of the level. All right, so we already have some strange version of physics now. That's something. And we still have we have an off by one on the platform on a downfall. So let's go take a look at that. Let's sort that issue out. So I think that has to do with where I put the magic point. So that's on this. This is the bottom collision. Yeah, and I already have some notes that there's some off by one stuff. All right, so that's going to be on the X tile. So that applies to these two lines here, which is where I calculate X. And the way that this generally works is basically I'm trying to calculate which tile should be tested against on a downward move. So in this case, I'm looking at like, you know, however many tiles over and then however many tiles down. And to get tiles down, I have to multiply by how wide the screen is because it's all really one linear array. It's not really organized as a 2D array. So this case, we know that this is off by one in the sense that it's picking the wrong tile. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with the sprite location, which is a pixel location. So it's an XY of any given pixel. I'm adding 8 to it. I'm trying to get over one. That's probably left over from the routine that I borrowed this from, to be honest. And then I'm dividing it by 8 and I'm adding 1. So this is actually testing the next tile right here. So let's first do that because I have a feeling that might be it. All right, so yeah, not quite. Okay, so actually that's kind of interesting because now yeah, see? It's really about the hit point, and the hit point is right in the middle. So that's actually pretty good. I mean, I can move the hit point, but like this is the right tile it's standing on, right? So it's checking for when that point goes over. So actually that's not terrible. I could push it a little bit, but it's not a full tile we want to push it by anymore. So that's going to be part of it right here. This is going to push it. So if we want to be a little more gentle, so I'm going to take this and we're going to move that hit point back a little bit. So let's say we move it to like 3. Yeah, that's right. Now, of course, that's only right when there's nothing there. So we do have a bug like this, which is we fall through because the hit point is not, now the hit point's not in the center anymore. So this kind of gets to the fact that like, I don't think you could really use a single point. So if you think about the character, like top to bottom, I'm using a single point in the bottom. I'm saying as long as this point is over something, then you're okay, right? You shouldn't be falling, but that's not really accurate. I mean, it's really anything that like the shoe involves or, you know, any of this stuff over here. So this is the side effect of moving that hit point. So we have to kind of decide, see, this is still good. The shoe's over, but like I can make it right one way or the other. So I think we're going to have to choose. Let's just take it closer to the center of both of those. So the character is 16 pixels wide. He's 2 sprites. So 7 is close to the end of the first column. So that should be kind of good enough for now until we want to actually use two different hit points. Physics is expensive. You see that? Yeah, see, so we're good here until that hit point. See, now I've moved the hit point over. So you're still all right, but you're kind of, actually, that's not bad. No, see, it's right there. So yeah, that's not good, right? I mean, I don't think there's a way around it. I think we're going to have to just use 2. I mean, because testing the same one on both sides is not really copacetic. Anyway, let's just say that this is the approximately right collisions point. All right, so we come here. We can come near the edge until you fall off. That would probably tick me off as a gamer. I mean, that's like, yeah. I mean, I think the right version of this, we're going to need 2 points. Oh, and that is all of our new songs. Totally enjoyed that. So I'm going to play some of our regulars here. We're going to go with that stuff. All right, and yeah, got another bit of fun. All right, neat. That's cool. Oh no, we have some very strange physics. Nice one, Cam. We really need a clips channel, don't we? Just gonna make one of those real fast. All right, so okay, can we forget about this cool NES thing for a moment? We need a working function for Twitch that will auto-mute tabs that aren't in focus. Nice. That would probably be a pretty useful extension, Dr. Derp. Not gonna argue with you. Just kidding, this is really cool. Why would someone work nowadays on the NES? Marco, this is related to, actually we have the video that I think we actually have a clip now. No, all right, I describe it there, but basically it comes from another streamer who actually takes a NES cartridge of a game that he virtually made and puts it into a real Nintendo. So I told him, I was like, all right, let's build an actual real Nintendo game that you can put into a real Nintendo. Chrome had it, but took it away. Something that sort of works some of the time. Oh, okay, that's cool, Dr. Derp. I make fun of NES. I still practice code for MUDs. Wow, MUD code on an NES. That's crazy. Instead of that, actually work on some TensorFlow and machine learning. I actually am working on TensorFlow and machine learning in my off-stream stuff right now, so that's why I'm not doing it on stream. But regardless, Marco, I'm doing this until I finish it. Like we're gonna finish this game in some form before I let go of this. Like, and so I think we're actually getting pretty close to done, as long as we allow that the game's gonna be a little bit like wonky. I mean, TensorFlow to program the NES. That's interesting. I'd probably watch that stream. So are you using points for collision? Any negative of using a rectangle from the center of the sprite? There's no negative other than I just didn't do it. That's I used the points just because I thought it would be cheap and simple and probably good enough. If it looks like that's not going to be the case, then we can change our logic to, do a little bit more. I mean, as it is right now, I could trivially implement it by just adding all of the points that are in a row and just test all of them for a collision. That's probably not as expensive as using a rectangle calculation, because with a rectangle, I gotta watch like how many memory accesses this is gonna cost, because keep in mind, I'm running this basically on every frame. So like we're burning a lot of compute to do this collision detect. Why Eos? I wanted to be happy. Eos is a happy place in Greece, right? Nice island. Based on a mythical character. Just curious. Didn't know if it would take any more resources to do it the other way. Yes, Cam, it will take more resources, but it might not be bad in terms of like how much it costs. I figured I'd go for cheap first, and then we'd worry about like, you know, if we have spare compute, we always can do better physics, right? So, okay. I'm gonna just say that that's good enough. We want to ship it. We want to move on to TensorFlow, like Marco just mentioned. Okay, so we have moving off the right. We have moving off the left. So that's kind of good enough. Let's work on the other side of this physics, which is how far we're going to allow jumping, and are we going to allow the character to jump through things or not? So right now the concern is that you can kind of jump through a tile. It might be kind of fun to break the Mario rules, I guess. I don't know. But if we want to not jump through a tile, we're going to have to do a collision detect on the top. So I'm not sure if we care for that level of accuracy. Yeah, tiles. All right, let's see. So let's go. Let's worry about getting our jump simulation kind of right. And I think what we'll do for this is we're just going to assume that gravity, if jumping is on, we're going to assume gravity is always acting on the character. Yeah, polynomials are incoming. Well, except polynomials are going to be too expensive to evaluate, so we're just going to pre-calculate the polynomial for us. And Maxi Alpha 79, thank you for the follow. That's much appreciated. So let's go with a little more physics. So is jumping... All right, so let's think this out. What we've got right now isn't really is jumping. We have like if you're in the air. Because now we're saying that it's jump is like you're a verb, right? You're intending to jump, but if you fall off, I'm counting that as is jumping as well. So it's really like it's not is jumping. This is a bad variable name. So we're gonna just quickly regex this whole mess, and we're gonna say that is jumping is gonna be is in the air. Okay. So no more is jumping, but we have is in the air. Okay. So is in the air is now better named. In order to do this, we need to know what the current, so if we're going to be accurate with Newtonian style physics, then we need to say what the current acceleration is. Yeah, let's, you know what? Let's just go crazy. Let's do like real physics. And then we're going to learn that the NES can't keep up with real physics. So we're going to end up doing not real physics. Okay. What I'm thinking is, well, you know, why don't we do this instead? Why don't we just make it sort of real physics? So we're going to go with like, actually this needs to be signed. So we're going to go with like a char that's signed character. Which is going to be our acceleration curve. And we're going to pre-compute our curve to be something like, let's see, you start off as -2, then you go -2, then you go -1, then 0, and then 1, 2, 2. All right, so we'll start off with this curve. I know it's not super parabolic, but that seems parabolic enough. But let's let the user hang actually in the air for a moment. So you get to hang at the top. And then we need to know how long this thing is. So since I don't want to calculate that, we're going to go with And if you see FF, which you can't do as a char, well, it's going to be a negative value as a signed value. Okay, so if you see FF, we know that we're at the bottom of the loop. And what we're going to do is we're just going to say that the current acceleration is going to just start off at 0. So our goal here is that when you jump, well, we have to decide on our, all right, so I'm going to follow the y coordinate system, which the y coordinate system is currently, it's left-hand coordinates, because we're 0y is at the top of the screen, 240y is the bottom of the screen. So negative is jumping up, right? So moving negative in y moves you up, and moving positive in y moves you down. And then when we see this FF, we know that the move is done. Well, actually, we just know that the array is done. So if we see FF, then just stay on whatever the last value is. We're just gonna stop the acceleration at that point. All right, so let's take our current acceleration, and when we jump, so this is pad A, which starts our jump, we move to is in the air, which I don't actually need to do anymore, because now it's just going to detect every frame that I happen to be in the air, right? No, actually that's not true. Okay, lying. Okay, so keep it simple. All right, keep it naive, keep it simple. We're not going to try to optimize. If we're in the air, then let's apply the next acceleration step. So we're going to say that the current, so current acceleration actually isn't the current acceleration, it's actually the index into this array. So it's current acceleration index. And then we basically stop, we're going to basically move it through all of these values. So we're going to say current, we're just going to reset it, current acceleration index is definitely 0. And then we're going to say, and we're going to need to do the same thing whenever we can go into the air, which happens here, and it happens here. So we're going to assume that all jumps start on a pad. It's kind of a bug, isn't it? Yeah, it's not kind of a bug, it's definitely a bug. But we're gonna not worry about that for the moment, because if you just move in air, you can totally glitch this thing. Okay, so we're gonna say that, and I have to pay for Vim Adventures. Vim Adventures costs money now? I thought there was a free the one I played was definitely free. Ah, that's a bummer. I'm sorry I gave you bad advice on that, Stonks. It was totally free when I did it, but I guess, you know, it's probably further developed now, so maybe. Sorry about that. Okay, so might be worth it if you want to learn Vim. I don't know. I haven't done it. I really shouldn't mention it if I can't tell you what its current state is like right now. All right, so if I'm in the air, then we're going to say basically if acceleration curve sub this thing plus 1 is not equal to FF, so if we don't hit the last value, then we're going to say acceleration, current acceleration index gets well, just didn't do it. It's 3 Okay, so every time it comes through this loop, it's going to hit that and it's going to increment until it actually gets to the terminal value, and it's just going to stay on this sort of 2 business here. And we'll worry about the collision detect as for cleaning that up, but we'll see that in a second. So then what we need to do is we need to apply it. So we just need to say which actually we're already applying it, aren't we? So it's this thing, sprite Y. Funk, you need some funk. Okay, so here we're moving it. That's on a move, on a move. This is in the actual collision. So actually we're not moving it at all when we're not. So I'm misusing the current is jumping, well, is in the air, to move this. And this is wrong. So this is kind of the end of pad down happening, because you no longer press down to get the character to move down. You actually just wait for the character to fall. So this is in the air is no longer kind of right. So we're going to worry about that in a minute. Instead, let's do this separately, because we're basically going to replace that up-down movement stuff. So here, when we're, no, that's shot fired. Okay, so here when we're in the air, this is it. First, we're going to move ourselves to the right place in the acceleration table, and then we're just going to apply it. So we're going to say sprite Y gets the acceleration curve of the current place. Okay, so it's going to get moved by that much. So initially that's the same as subtracting, and then later on it's the same as adding. Okay, now that's going to overkill when we're pressing down, but we'll deal with that in a moment. So let's get that over here, and we're going to run it. Oh, we left some errors. Bad guy. So that's in 9. Oh, you're not allowed to do that. Oh, yeah, you are. Okay, you're just gonna make it a thing. Okay, undefined symbol is in the air. All right, so this I think is in globals. Is, no, it's like, what was it? Is jumping, is now, is in, see that? 100% of the time, use a regex, you will have a bug. Is in the air. Okay, there you go. Rebuild that, and we get moving. All right, that's not quite what I expected, but that's kind of funny. So Bitboi just kind of floats up now. That's neat. Very nice. All right. Is this asteroids? Yeah, I guess it is asteroids now. Yeah, script fix. Nice one, Dr. Derp. Okay, so what is going on there? All right, so let's assume for the moment that this is probably right. So current acceleration index is showing the right value, and this moves. Yeah, so if it's not equal to FF, then move it up 1. Hey, what's up, Brendan? Brendan 65536, overflowing by 1 in regular memory storage. Very nice. What's going on? Is this, so we are going to figure out what is going on here. So this is, oh, it's that, Brendan. I know that. Good day. How you doing, man? Good to see you. I think that's the first time I've seen you speak in the channel. We're doing a little NES fun, Brendan. We're moving a give. Oh yeah, I do. I could spot the good day. That's, yeah, that's so we're building an NES version of a game that was originally made in GameMaker Studio. So you created a Twitch account just to follow you, right? An NES game. Wow, I feel really privileged, Brendan. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And actually, you know what? Let's do a little bookkeeping here for Brendan. I think that the thing to do, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. and type out some crazy stuff because it is September, and I think that Brendan 65536, well chosen variable, is going to come over to here. Yeah. Hopefully I spelled your name right. Well, we're going to find out. We'll find out momentarily. Okay, yeah, totally did. So, Brendan, you just got the best emotes on Twitch for programmers. That is the no regex. Brendan actually knows, he's heard me rant endlessly about this, but you now have the power, so use it wisely. You can jump into any channel on Twitch and you can drop the no regex pixel art, which also comes with the "this is fine." This is the SomeCodingGuy. Everything's fine here, don't worry about that. And whatever the power means. Yes, I'm still fighting regular expressions, Brendan. Brendan, you might not even know this, but I actually upgraded the regex licensing site. So this is the official site here of the war on the regular expression. So this has been upgraded a bit. It doesn't look so loose, but Brendan actually writes regexes with the best. So yeah, and also you also get this other fantastic emote as well, which is something that I think of most code that I end up looking at, including my own, which is the pixel art dumpster fire. So that might have my own bias built into it, but I've seen a lot of code that is just a dumpster fire. So, oh no, I didn't realize that. Damn it. Okay. Oh, actually, we have more emotes now, Cam, so we're actually going to be able to shift some of those down. So I have some flame graph PRs where people want to tweak my regular expression. Sounds like you are an expert who can help cover you. No, Brendan, I don't want to look at a regular expression. That's why I built the whole website. Not. All right. Wow. It's gonna. Well, you know what? Just gonna play some funk, and we're not gonna worry about it. We can go back to some slow funk for coding. Is that site on your resume? If I had a resume, Cam, that site would be on it. Oh, the PRs usually say, I don't know what I'm doing, but here's my change. Brendan is also, by the way, for those of you who don't know Brendan, he is one of the greatest aficionados of troll humor, and he has of people who have trolled me in my life, I have to say he is up there. That is probably that's absolutely amazing. But welcome to Twitch, welcome to hanging out. Oh, Wubadub is here too. You actually both know each other from real life. Wubadub is my hack team partner, Brendan, so you've actually met him before. He was actually just on the show last Wednesday. So those of you who want to help Brendan out, don't write a regular expression on it, but you can help him out with some PRs. He is one of the genii behind getting the dtrace tools that I was talking about the other day upgraded to the BPF land and Linux accessible to everybody. So, and he just finished writing a book, which is, I think, out of print. I think he's already sold all of the copies out, I think. But this is, Brendan, am I allowed to mention the book on stream, or should I? Actually, I just realized that might not have been the right thing to do. Sorry about that. Well, I spilled the beans on that, but I can say that at least I think he sold it all out. Yeah, it's public. I blew it. I'm sorry, Brendan. I didn't mean to be revealing about that. That's my bad. Sure, it's public. Okay, so this is basically, for those of you who don't know, actually he can probably get it on his website. I think he was using a .com. Yeah, he's totally using a .com. Okay, so Linux Systems Performance. This is BPF Tools. I want to say it's version 2. This looks like, yeah, it's sold out immediately. Look at that, everybody. Want to write a book? Brendan can tell you all of the pain of writing a book, like to write the text. Okay, I totally covered up. I'm sorry, I fixed that with Bitboi. I'm gonna say that this is hopefully the right link. Is this because you just wrote the second edition, right? I want to say that it's. I don't see where the edition is. So am I just missing it, everybody? Oh, first edition. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's another. Okay, I had a feeling that it was. There's a second. All right, BPF performance tools. Second. What? Come on, Amazon. Seriously, this BPF performance tools. Okay, there's the right one. If systems performance second edition, let's try that. System. Oh, there it is. Oh, #1 new release. Look at that in the Unix operating system. Fantastic. That's an achievement right there. So Brendan builds these wonderful flame graphs that you can actually figure out what your computer is doing. And so if you're very interested in performance, this is basically the book. You should check it out. I've seen some pre-release stuff of it. I haven't actually seen the final copy. It sold out faster than I could order it. But give it a review. Yeah, I'd have to log in. But yeah, definitely drop some congrats for Brendan. We can give him an F, I guess. Let's give him an F in the chat, everybody. This stuff is fantastic. If you're serious about performance and optimization, this is like the book. So he will take you give him a W. Give him a W for that. All right, we'll give him a W. Thank you, Kim. So welcome, and I'm sorry about the version of the sub. I'll fix the emotes because I really want all of you to have these wonderful emotes. I wasn't trying to make them exclusive. They only gave me like 3 slots when I first set it up, and I didn't realize that those were tiers of the subscription. So now that we have more emote slots, I think we could fix that. All right, so back to NES. Is there even going back to NES coding after that? So we have performance royalty in the channel here. So is there a For Dummies version of that book? Dr. Derp, I'm going to tell you the For Dummies version of that book is hire Brendan. So that's or if you can't hire Brendan because he's probably pretty hard to hire away from Netflix, then I would say go with. If you see somebody with this book on their shelf, that probably is a pretty good indicator. Yeah, the BPF trace, he's managed to get this stuff with a team of people. He managed to get all these patches into the Linux kernel to allow like kind of perfect observability of what's going on. So when are you going to start streaming? This is like his first day on Twitch, and you're already asking him when he's going to start streaming. Nice. Brendan usually... Most of his talks, by the way, you can check out his talks that he does at conferences. He doesn't do a lot of I don't think you do any live streaming stuff, but you can. He posts all this stuff online, so the information's here, and I think all the talks are pretty much on YouTube. He speaks at AWS most years, and Brendan. All right, he probably did come in here to get all this abuse. But yeah, you can.
My name is Brendan.
There it is. That's how he says g'day. That's how I spotted them. See this awesome pink jacket here? I'm telling you, it's styling. Anyway, you should all check this out in the meantime. All right, and maybe we can use BPF trace to figure out why our NES code is slow. So back to the NES. All right. Okay, so we are gonna go. My streaming is much more boring. No game. No worries. Well, we have to, it's broccoli and chocolate, right? You can't just have chocolate all the time. Want to learn about histogramming, performance profiling. This dude definitely knows what he's talking about. I guess Dr. Derp, you did make the request. So maybe he'll make a for dummies version of it. I don't. Can you do performance optimization for dummies? That might be really hard. He does do a great. If you check out those talks, though, he does a great job of like explaining stuff as he's going through. And I always feel like I learned something when I watch those types of streams. I mean, it's like very, very deep dive. It's not. He doesn't go for like the 2-minute like presentation. Like he's like, you're gonna like make yourself a cup of coffee, sit down, and like you're gonna learn something. Sure you can. Adulting is great. Bring in the chocolate. Nice. Twitch has become a popular platform for educational content now. There's a huge community for. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean the whole like learn C as an additional language. This was entirely done on Twitch. So I mean, and stack frames. Actually, Brendan would probably like this episode because I think I called him out in it. But there's a full transcript. We can see if. Oh no, didn't mention it there. I forgot that I loaded up transcript. There was one where I was talking about unwinding stack frames, and I'm like, most of the time you have a frame pointer, ish. So, anyway, welcome and appreciate you dropping by. So we're building Load Runner. No, we're not building Load Runner. We're building on the NES. It might have been in one of the Flicks ones. Oh, stacks. I was planning a YouTube video on stacks and absolutely go for it, Brendan. That's and if you want to grab any like clips or if you know whatever, this stuff is all Creative Commons, so you can it's I'm pushing the like teach programming for free thing as sort of a side. I do learning sessions on Mondays, so. The earlier student in the day, she was learning Python from scratch. She is a little bit preoccupied at the moment. So we mostly finished up C as an additional language. And we finished the basic C course. This was for like somebody coming from another language. So I don't start with like, this is what a variable is and this is what a function is. Instead, we get a little bit more deep about like, this is what is happening with memory layout. This is a stack frame. This is how like, things typically get built if you haven't optimized it and unrolling. So we get into all that stuff. And she's now moved past that. So we're starting the next sort of course after this. And actually those are kind of fun to watch anyway. Jessie, who's doing the learning, she actually, one day she was asking me about malloc and I was like, fine, you're going to just build your own allocator. So we went into that level of detail. So that was kind of a fun episode. But yeah, I would totally love to check out the stacks, the short version on YouTube. That would be super cool, just to see. So anyway, this stuff is all available. Brendan obviously knows all this stuff, but anyone who's interested, you can get all this stuff on the web. All the courses are free. The materials are all going to be free. And multi-user pad that we use to do the editing on is also free. So you can actually get that right here. Brendan, this is basically Google Docs for programming. It's kind of the short version, except it's totally open and I'm pluggable with like authentication providers. So you can use Discord or Twitch or, I think that's all I support at the moment, to log in, and you can have a shared whiteboard and you can have code and then here's output and whatever. So this is kind of the early version. Both of you, this part acts sort of Google Docs-ish here, but you don't actually have to connect it to a Google account. So it's nice for, other stuff, and everything's open source, so you can use that. Oh yeah, there you go. Cam found a link. So there you go. You can check out all of the talks and series that he puts up over there. All right. Well, we can talk about Brendan for a whole stream, but that's not going to get this physics stuff written. So let's finish up what we were doing. So what are we doing? We were building Bitboi Classic, and we had, let's see, this, right. So we got to this point. Now I know where Prime learned his flame graph stuff. Prime actually learned a lot of his flame graph stuff from me. I learned it from Brendan. So this is the original source here. Serious question for once. What is a good program to use to learn this stuff and practice code? The best thing these days, like, compilers don't cost anything. So, I'd say just get your development environment set up and just get going. As for resources for like kind of like stuff to learn in order and like what to do, I don't really know. I mean, like the free coding camp was good for like JavaScript. Again, it depends on your programming level, Dr. Dirt, but I'm not really sure like where you're starting. But like I started this from scratch resource because I felt like there was a lot of confusing stuff. I mean, there was a ton of stuff about JavaScript, like for like your first time programming. There wasn't much about Python. I feel like Python's a better language to learn, especially as you're getting started, because it's so much more like pseudocode than JavaScript, and it doesn't have all these like weird Lispisms that are built into the language because of its history. Yeah, I mean, so like the only problem I've got is this is not actually a course yet. So I mean, we've done about 4 episodes of this, so this is totally not ready. I'm still debugging this course curriculum, so I can't offer this as a solution yet. But you know, free coding camp is pretty good if you want to just like test it out a little bit. Free code camp. Is this the right one? No, apply today. It's not. It's free. It's what is it? Free code camp. Yep, that's it. Okay, this is the right one. This is cool. This dude basically put together a whole course built around JavaScript, and you know, going from like your first code to like getting a job in the front end is and kind of more vocational, so it's not like heavy on like, and this is a pretty well thought out curriculum. Yeah, it's worth checking out. I was building the other one for Python mainly because there's like, personally, I hate JavaScript. So it's like, I don't like it. I think that it requires a lot of knowledge that's, I mean, again, in terms of like, I had this discussion with Primeagen, which, by the way, Brendan, you know him as Paulson. That's the Primeagen, so I'll just drop a shout out for the Primeagen. And he basically, both of us agree that, like, you know, if you're trying to get a job in programming, hour for hour, JavaScript probably has the best payoff, from going from beginner to like, you know, junior programmer, and eventually, you know, it's got a growth path from there. You know, there it is possible to put JavaScript on the server. I don't particularly like it, but it is something that can work. You know, with Node, and on the front end, it gives you like a complete story, which is kind of nice. So for hour, it's probably the best. For like really understanding what's going on with a computer, Python I feel like is way better because it's the sort of pseudocode version of it, versus JavaScript means that you're not going to be stuck in so many like ridiculous details of the language. Like if you've never seen the WAT talk on JavaScript, it's amazing exposition on like everything that's kind of just insane about JavaScript, because JavaScript has lots of like really, and it's not, I'm not blaming anyone here. It has to do with its history and like the non-standards love, and some of it was by design, the way that the class system works and the fact that it's basically scheme. And I actually just saw a great quote about that the other day. This person posted that, I actually followed him on Twitter just because he wrote this in his profile. It was, a gentleman is someone who knows Lisp and is polite enough never to write any. And so I thought it was really interesting for that. But it was just fun. I don't want to match parentheses anymore. But anyway, so getting away from that, like, Python actually is easier to study algorithms and a lot of the other stuff without having to deal with memory management. And then when you're ready, this course was sort of built as the next level. So you're coming from a language like Python or JavaScript, and you want to know more about like how the computer works and, you know, how stack frames are organized and that sort of thing. And that's, I get into all that, like how does memory allocation work when you actually have to track it. Not that I think you should be writing a lot of stuff in C. Unless you're working on the kernel like Brendan does, I don't see a lot of excuses for writing in C these days versus like languages like Java or, you know, C# or something. Like let it manage the memory for you. You probably just want to finish and like get whatever your program is done and out in the field, as opposed to spending all the time optimally tuning and trying to manage every single bit of memory. And C is always available as a call out in just about every language, which is part of why I like it. So you can program in Python and be like, this routine isn't fast enough. Oh, I'll write a C module. Cool, everything works. So All of the CS people in my college discords are in love with Rust. Yeah, Rust is getting a lot of love these days. I mean, it's supposed to be a C-like language in terms of performance, but doesn't allow naked pointers and, you know, some of the nasty things that C lets you do. It tries to shift some of that burden to development time. I haven't done much with Rust myself, so I can't really comment. I was kind of hoping it was going to go away, but it probably isn't going to go away after it got the browser pickup that it did. We aren't making the 10 lines of code. Okay, you know what? You're right. Brendan, the rule that I've got here is I try to get 10 lines of code an hour on live streaming. So I've talked too much, so we got to get... Last time we got close to that, I actually did an assembly language NOP loop. I was totally cheating on my own rule. But if it's starting to look close, then we'll start doing a bunch of NOPs to try to get around that. Okay, so let's do this. And all right, so we're in here, and what we want to do, we did something a little bit weird, which was that the acceleration is just keeps happening. So let's fix whatever. This is neat that he floats up until the collision gets detected. Now that's clearly not right. So I have a feeling that might be related to the sign math not happening on the platform. So let's take a quick look at that before we go any further. So let's see. This is basically here. So why don't we just pin this for a moment to... by the way, I count diff lines as lines of code, so it's totally fine. Mama Rolf, thank you. Much appreciated. Okay, so we're going to say that we're going to take this acceleration curve. I'm going to just pin this to, let's see, where were we on our acceleration? Oh, right, I don't want that anymore. Let's go back into the acceleration curve. All right, so these first few values are our negatives. Let's see if that's working correct. Well, actually, we know it's working because the sprite is moving up. So let's try, oh, you know what? I know what it is. FF is -1. 2's complemented. Damn it. Okay. So we can't use this as our end. All right, that's totally what it is. Damn it. Okay, let's just slice our range. We're gonna pick something like right in the middle. So this should be good enough. I'm gonna undo all that, come back here, and let's go back to your 80, and we're gonna detect for when this is 80. We'll use 80 as our pill for the end of this array. Yep, there it is, physics. Now, obviously we have a problem that you get to keep jumping while you're in the air, which, you know, that's not right. So we're gonna have to fix that, but we still have jetpack mode, so we're gonna have to get rid of jetpack mode. All right. I feel like Wubba-Dub-Dub would appreciate this because we both had some fun with the acceleration. I think he went about this a very different way when he did it, but I don't remember how you implemented that, Wubba-Dub-Dub, if he's still around. He did the platform graphics that we saw on the Nintendo. So taking a step away was all it took. Yeah, it totally was, Cam. And thanks for keeping me on task with, you know, the 10 lines of code. You know what we need? We need that in the bot. Like, it's got to be like, you know, you're running out of time. You've got this many lines of code written. It's like getting it. Oh, okay. You change some line. We could do that as a Vim plugin, I think. All right. So those of you who don't know, Wubba-Dub-Dub was working on Netflix with me, which we talked about on Wednesday night for those of you who were here. And that was, you know, Netflix on the original Nintendo. And he did the, so here on the screen, he did this. He did the physics related to this block here. We're using an 8x8 sprite on this. And he got the logic of like different platforms and, you know, different text and getting the collision to work on that. And he did a little bit of physics, but I think he had like so that it couldn't jump through this line. Like, so he actually implemented this a little bit better than I'm doing right now because I'm still allowing Bitboi to jump through stuff. So, which I think is okay. We're not too worried about that. Now, clearly, Bitboi is a little too fast right now. So, I think we're gonna have to play with that acceleration curve a little bit. But let's first get rid of jumping midair. So, let's say that we're gonna leave the acceleration curve for a moment, and let's say that when you're in the air, so in the air, in the air, in the air. Okay, so as long as you're doing this, so we don't need this to make the movement anymore. The only thing that jumping does now is it moves you to the air. Once you're in the air state, then the physics engine should take you over. So, yep, okay. And that's where we're not, wow, it really falls fast, doesn't it? Boom. Okay, so a little issue with that acceleration curve. We'll worry about that later. So this moves you to being in the air. That's cool, unless you're already in the air. So let's assume that you're not already in the air. Because if you're in the air, we're not going to allow a jump. All right, so simple rule. Let's see if that works. Yeah. Okay, no longer allows jumping when you're in the air. Now this moving left stuff that's a bug right there, because if I jump while I'm moving, it allows it. But all right, so this, yeah, we don't want to jump into stuff, so we're still gonna have to deal with that left collision. All right, so let's say we want. All right, so our first problem here is the acceleration isn't quite right, because I'm starting a jump and it should smoothly move through the acceleration curve, but it's not. So let's see what's going on with that. So here's the current acceleration index, and you know what I'd like to do? Let's drop y. So right now we're using display score as sprite y. Let's use the current location in the acceleration curve. So let's say that. So I'm going to change the debug here on the top right to show where we are in the acceleration curve. All right, so using our score for debugging. Okay, so it's. Okay, so basically it's just happening too fast is what's happening. So we're not getting enough ups. So let's give ourselves some more ups. All right, let's extend this a little bit. So we're gonna go with these, and actually these don't need to be symmetric anymore, but that's interesting. I want to start off jumping strong, so we'll move a lot, and let's see what starts happening here. Okay, so we're getting higher, but we're not getting far enough here. But we still have plenty more room. We're getting further in the array on a standard jump, right? So let's extend this a bit. Let's just, I don't know. Let's go crazy. So we're burning memory for this, which, but NES doesn't have that much memory. Okay. That looks pretty jumpy in the normal version of it. Okay, so all we really need to do is set it that, so that's given us 15 frames of jump. See that? We approximated a parabola without really having to do a parabolic calculation, Cam. There you go. KC1491, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. All right, so we're getting to our 15th frame of animation. And let's see, 9 to 24. Yeah, it's 15 frames. Okay, so we're actually finishing the whole thing with this acceleration curve. I can even give us a little bit more in the beginning to get the jump started. I'm not too worried about this being perfectly physically accurate. We want our physics to be fun, not necessarily perfect. Okay, so that's a little too much there. That's okay. So I'm gonna jump. Actually, that's fine, right? That's no. The problem we have with that's really funny how fast he moves. The problem that we're having there is that we're not advancing it when we're moving left or right. So let's come back to our acceleration curve. And here, when I'm in the air, I'm moving through the acceleration curve. So what I want to do is the first time you walk off a platform, I don't want to start at the top of, I don't want the jump, right? So I don't want like you get a free jump by just walking off the platform. You should fall. So that means we should really start you around here. So let's take a look at that, which that's going to happen in the, so let's start with pad left on that case. So pad left is moving here. So this just moves, and then we check for collision, we're fine, and then we just always decide that we're in the air and we're trusting the rest of the engine to do the thing. So this is basically it right here. And that means that if we just do this in order, we can say that you start this basically at this location, which, so for 15, this is going to be a little ugly, isn't it? So I think I need another pill to mark where it is, but yeah, it's basically, I mean, we could always figure it out, but that seems like kind of dirty. We should really pre-compute that. Whatever. We can adjust the number later. Just jumping to fixed falling index and accelerate. I'm doing it in capitals just so that I remember. So we're going to say that we want to get, let's see, is that 10, 11, 12, 13? What is that? This. Okay, so it's 21 minus 9. Yep. Okay, 12. So we're going to jump you to index 12, which I think is here. So we're going to start you off at no acceleration, and then you're going to get the positive side of the curve. Obviously, it's ugly because I'm blocking it in the curve, so we're going to have to keep that in mind, which is why I threw the warning in there. All right, so let's go here and rebuild this. Okay, that's not right. So now every time, oh, right, that's right moves. Okay, so ignore right moves because I haven't done that yet. We're doing left moves. Then you do this, and okay, we have another bug on how fast I'm moving the characters. Let's not use that 8 trick. Let's drop. I'll say that you get a gentle fall at the end. All right, we're gonna have to actually fix that collision thing at the end, but we'll do that. Okay, so let's pop over. Nope, not there. Okay, so we're not falling through the tile anymore. Yeah, you see that? That's not good. Okay, so if I fall off, okay, yeah, that's good actually on the fall. So let's apply that in both directions so that we stop getting these wicked ups. So let's see, where were we? Is in the air. So this is basically what we did on the pad left. So I'm going to do the same thing for now on the pad right. We might as well just define this. Fixed. Let's call this the deceleration side. It's not deceleration, it's the fixed fall part of curve index. All right. So we'll just quickly do that, and we can fix that, and we can take this and move it up here so that at least it's a little more obvious where we need to fix that. All right, so I'm gonna drop our warning up here, and we're gonna go do the same thing on the pad right. So this happens. Now I'm gonna lose my ability to go warp myself up at this point, but let's get that going. Okay. So yeah, just moving right falls you off. Okay, this is obviously annoying in its current version. I'm not sure we should allow holding down the button. That seems wrong. But all right, so we're moving right. We can fall off, and we can. All right, so if we jump and then move, we're okay. But if we just move, then we get the fall. All right, so there's our basic jump physics. It's disgusting. We're gonna need to fix that up, but yeah. All right, cool. So I don't like that. Right, he's actually falling into the ground. So that has to do with the hit detect. And so before, the hit detect always assumes that you're moving by 1 pixel at a time. So like if I change this acceleration curve, then this basically guarantees that I won't fall into the floor. But that's like, you know, we need to check like however many tiles ahead as whatever the acceleration is going to be. So if I just jump onto the platform, now I can't fall into the floor. I'm cheating, but you know, let's keep it at least right, and then we'll worry about like how we can get a better acceleration curve later. I'll just knock down how far we're jumping up because it kind of feels wrong. So this is probably, I don't know if that's too much ups. I mean, this is basically a tile, 3 tiles, 4 tiles. So you're getting 4 tiles of jump, which, yeah, okay. That if we want the character to be able to make it that far, that's all right, right? So we could even go further, give it 5 tiles of jump. Plus a little bit at the end, which is this stuff. Do you have an i9 processor? I do in my laptop. Why do you ask, Zenron? Zenron. Zenron, I'm going with Zen. All right, let's do that. computer seems fast. Oh, not on this one. This isn't a... This is something else. Yeah, this is an i7. It's pretty nice, though. I mean, it fast enough. Pretty nice and snappy. One thing I'm doing is I'm using, and occasionally this leads to some audio desync issues, but I'm using the GPU for the stream encoding. So that's none of that is being done on CPU, which is kind of nice. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I think this is pretty just standard Linux behavior. So I'm gonna reset that. I feel like I don't like what that thing's doing. Seems like it's like off by 1 on the initial. So we come in here. Yeah. Oh no, okay, he's standing on it. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Linux plus Vim is very snappy. Building on Cam's comment there. And using keyboard navigation obviously speeds things up. The more stuff you end up doing with the mouse, the more time you give up. But all right, I'll leave this up for fun. So this is fun stuff. All right, so let's go back. Yeah. So this is bad, right? When I'm moving and jumping, this is broken, right? But if I just jump and then move, I get a full jump. So that has to do with the fact that I'm moving off a cliff and it's detecting it. I don't like that, right? Because so we actually do need to track the state that we're jumping. We can't just use the physics of like the acceleration, because if I'm in a jump state, I shouldn't override it by the right button pad. That's wrong. So let's actually do a little state tracking there. A little more state tracking, I guess. So we're going to bring back not just is in the air, which is where gravity should apply, but we're going to also bring back in the jump. So or I should say did jump. And we're going to start that off 0. And then let's use did jump to override this stuff. So in the case of like did jump 0, then it'll just sort of fall off and it'll jump to the fixed part. Otherwise it won't. So let's say if did jump is not 0, then actually let's say did jump is 0, then just fall off the cliff. Otherwise, we can go and we'll start at the beginning. So we'll say this thing 0. So we're just going to test the right direction, and we'll just apply to the jump, which is pad A. Here's pad A. So is in the air moves to 1. So this is when is in the air is 0. So we know the character's not in the air, so they're allowed to jump. And Zenron 1994, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. So we know that the character is not in the air, so we're allowing the jump, and we're going to set did jump to true. So did jump goes to true, and when we land, so is in the air moves to 0, which we now need to track. So then we're going to reset this stuff. So we're going to say did jump moves to false. Denny 1111, thank you for the follow as well. Man, you guys everyone's great today. All right, let's see. Saturday streaming, always fun to hang out. Thanks for stopping by and coding a little NES stuff with us. All right, so we're gonna make this, and we're gonna. Okay, so right now I've only got it in the right direction. So we fall off. Falling off still works, but we do allow. Okay, that we still have that bug. Okay, so we're going to need to bring these into parity, right? Because now when I'm moving, this is like Joust. We've just created Joust physics. When you're in the air, you can flap the bird and stay in the air. That's great. That wow, that's how you build Joust. Now we just learned how to do it. Okay, so the bug we've got, so right now we're resetting the state a little too aggressively. That's kind of fun. Okay, sorry. A lot more fun than the physics we just had. Okay, so let's say that, all right, what are we doing with that? We're saying that is in the air is 1, otherwise is in the air is 0. So we're forcing did jump back to 0, which is fine. But we also need to be careful with, and we also need our music back. All right, I'm going back to the new stuff. As long as we're rolling here. Let's hear all that. All right, this time I won't blast your ears away. Yeah, this is the right time for this music, actually. It's like boss level. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we were screwing around on the right side, which is now I like this change because it allows right jumping. So we're going to do that. And it's clearly better than this. Left jump. So if you did do a jump, then you're allowed. If you didn't do a jump, rather, then you just get the falling part. Otherwise, you actually get to start at the beginning and you get a full jump cycle. Now, the problem is that that's resetting it. So that's our problem right there. So if we reset it, but you're in the air and you're still holding right, then we're going to let you keep on moving up because it's just going to move to the top of this acceleration curve again, which is not what we want. So actually we can't allow this. We need to say that, yeah, problem is I actually have to deal with whether or not you're in the air. Now here I'm actually forcing. Yeah, this is wrong. See, I'm writing terrible code now. Okay, so here we're actually resetting is in the air. Yeah, this is actually going to be our problem because we can't do this because we need to know whether or not we're always setting that you're in the air. But I need to use that because I need to say that, all right, let's not change too many things at once. Let's say that else, all right, so what we really want is if you're in the air, don't reset it. Right. So that's what we really want. Is in the air is 1, then actually if it's 0, then reset it to the beginning. And the problem we have is that we're forcing it to 1 every single time, which isn't quite right because there was a problem with our collision detect down. Exabyte, hello and welcome. What am I working on? I am working on the NES version of Bitboi, which you can check out here in a clip. It's for another streamer, 88-Bit Music, who does fantastic video game music on stream. So right now I'm trying to work through my game physics hackery, and this is kind of a problem here. Damn thing, dude. What happened, Marco? What's the damn thing? Was the TensorFlow acting up on you in C. Awesome. Thank you, Exabyte. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, he does. Okay, so right is wrong, but left is good now. So actually, I like that fix. Let's reapply that. Yeah, the reason I'm doing it in C, I'm trying to save myself some work, because the nice thing about CC65 is it drops the assembly. So you can go ahead and, you know, tweak the assembly if you want, or you can add assembly callouts and you can call them directly from code. But it's much nicer to be working in C and figuring out your logic. Because I mean, think of all this work that I had to do to try figuring out this logic, and then you add on to that the fact that like you'd also be trying to think in assembly. It's like, ugh, a lot of work. All right, I'm gonna skip this song. I'm not happy mood. Let's get more like that last. All right, yeah, here we go. Cave music. Needed to use Xmodmap. Xmodmap, I've always had a bad time every time I've had to use Xmodmap. I'm sorry, Marco. What do you think of the Dell Precision Series workstations? I don't think any of them. I don't think anything of them. I haven't used a Dell Precision Series workstation, so I really have no opinion on it. I can tell you that this laptop that I got, I've been super happy with. It's a ThinkPad, the Lenovo, like it's got like the X1. It's a Carbon X1. Been really great. I mean, definitely don't take anything with less than a terabyte these days, but you can always upgrade that stuff. Are you talking about on the laptop side or more on the... Well, no, you did say workstation. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like Dells in general. Precision workstations. Precision mobile workstation. Fixed workstation. I mean, that's a great starting price for a computer. Granted, that's probably like a Celeron and who knows. But, I mean, I think Dell stuff is pretty solid. Don't white box it unless you really want to get into like building your own computer. Then you're going to spend a lot of time sorting that stuff out. I mean, yeah, okay. So like at their bottom end, the i3 is already pretty decent for a low end. Looking at a upper end, let's see, i5s. I probably wouldn't get an i5 these days. Some of them are fine. i5. These are pretty beefy i5s actually. All right, seems like they don't go into the. Can you selector this into like an i7? All right, show me the i7s. What do you got? I mean, that's not bad for the price, right? I'm not a huge fan of this adapter, but I mean, again, I guess the other question is like, I shouldn't be shopping specs if I don't even know what we're doing with it. Like, I guess, what's your target here? Do you want small? Do you want it to fit in? Do you business stuff or more like, game stuff or like little ML? I'd care more about the graphics card. I mean, the M2 SS. I mean, this is a decent line. I wouldn't take 512 gigs. You're gonna run out of space. But sorry, got a little sidetracked there. Have you built any game software in assembly? Didn't know it was still prevalent today. I mean, so Exabyte, in this case, on the NES, it's definitely still prevalent. But how prevalent is building an NES game today? You don't tend to do much assembly anymore. I mean, optimizing compilers really gets you there most of the time and save you a ton of time. But keep in mind, like, optimize your time. That's one of the biggest issues with like software development is like not having enough. Programming takes a lot of time. Fafi, what's up? Hello, how are you doing? Good news. Did you get the job? What happened, Fafi? I want to hear the news. Okay, I have the same laptop, but it's second gen. I love that series. Exabyte, solid. Second gen, 180 gig SSD, dual core, 8 gig. I mean, definitely for when you would have gotten second gen. I think this is like 7th gen. That sounds like great specs. Does the job for mobile dev. All right, well, so if you want to upgrade, you know what to do. XPS 13 is pretty solid. I think Wubba Dub Dub also has an XPS 13 cam. We need like a computer geek out channel, don't we? A lot of pixels died on the screen right out of the gate. Oh man, if you get dead pixels, go right back on warranty. Like they shouldn't be shipping you like dead pixels on a new screen. And they do. There's manufacturer defects all the time. First thing I do, get a display, like solid white, look for dead pixels. If I were to do it again, I'd go with the X1 Carbon. X1 Carbon is definitely solid. Yeah, I love ThinkPads. I like them historically when they were IBM. I mean, Lenovo's been keeping standards. Android Studio is a computer destroyer. There's no question about that. Oh, you're going to be doing Android dev. Oh, I actually read it as Exabyte was doing dev mobile. Like Exabyte was mobile, not he was doing mobile dev. But I guess that's possibly a bad assumption. He is also a bad assumption, so I should say Exabyte. It's not bad as long as you have an SSD. Yeah, the HDD definitely adds a lot of latency. Lead developer, love my color picker. Nice one, Fafi. I got a technical interview with him, and it went good. So I have a second interview with the owners on Monday, so I really hope it is them giving me an offer. I mean, that's fantastic news, Fafi. That's great news. I'm very happy for you. Color picker was pretty cool. By the way, to anybody else just dropping by, if you're in the Discord, like Fafi was wondering for a take home if Fafi could get a code review, and he's just dropped the code in Discord, and Tejava stepped up and took care of him. I mean, so we have that kind of community. So if you want to join the Discord, you ever want like your code to get looked at, I mean, we're not promising any sort of support here, but it's like a decent community, and if people can help, they usually do. Laugh my ass off. I use Flutter, so Android and iOS. Well, no Mac, so I can't build the iOS app. And yes, I am a him. Okay, cool. I gotta watch I shouldn't be making any assumptions. That's a habit I gotta work on. So yeah, that Android, like, I don't know how much. I mean, if you just have the SDK, but I mean, the Android Studio itself is like a beast. Xcode is a beast. I don't know how much Flutter probably just requires that like the compiler toolchains are all set and the packaging, but that I haven't used it directly, so I can't comment, but I'm going to guess it's probably a pretty rough experience these days, especially knowing some of the memory hunger and hard drive requirements that stuff requires. I mean, I think previous versions of Android Studio, they had Gradle on the back end. The minute you introduce Gradle, you're already talking like massive space. Okay, so... well, good news, everybody. That's all good stuff. Glad to hear the accomplishments coming along. Okay, so I'm rolling this change out to both sides. So let's get rid of our acceleration curve, and let's look at both sides here. So we have this is pad left, and here's pad right down here. So we're gonna say, yeah, the big change here is just this double conditional. I don't know if we're going to want anything else in there, which is why I'm using the nested if. We'll find out. So that basically just prevents, if you're already in the air, then you don't get to do a second jump. A little bit hacky the way I'm doing the physics, but yeah, whatever. All right, so we can check that. I need to find my old ThinkPad. It's like 20 years old. I still have my old ThinkPad. It's like 20 years old, Dr. Derp. I'm right there with you. Thank you for dropping the Discord link. I should have done that, Cam. My bad. I use IntelliJ with, oh man, IntelliJ. Wow. That's a beast on hardware requirements. Android plugins, basically. I mean, the Android Studio is IntelliJ. I think they licensed IntelliJ for Android Studio default. It's IntelliJ like personal. After indexing, it's actually faster than VS Code, because VS Code is also a beast. Because Vim emulation, VS Code is sucky, and it's quite close to native Vim speed and IntelliJ. Wow, that's pretty. I mean, I found like IntelliJ. I mean, like most Java stuff, like once it's warmed up, it's all right. But I'm just surprised you can run with like those kind of memory like parameters. Like it's pretty hungry on RAM and disk space, especially when you have backing like Gradle. So Yeah, those ThinkPads were definitely built to last. No question, Cam. Okay, so we roll out our change on left pad, and we can jump left, and we can jump right, and we don't get to jump midair. This is pretty sweet. I'm liking it. All right, legit. We can't make that jump. We don't have the space to make that jump. We're gonna need to make that jump. Okay. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna need a little bit more on the acceleration curve. Game Boy Link, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. Lot of success. Still don't like Java. Nah. You know, Brendan, who was here earlier today, worked at Sun. Pour one out for Sun. Raise a glass, everyone. Sun is dead. Long live Sun. He knows a lot about Java and optimization. In fact, that's where a lot of the dtrace and the stacks and the stuff that he was talking about briefly before actually grew up. Lenovo's are built well. I had a Lenovo ThinkPad for 6 years. Still works with an i5. Yeah, I mean, it's solid hardware. I mean, you know, a lot of those machines, like if you just swap, like, just in case they don't have an SSD, like just swap for like an SSD, they're going to be too old to have like an M2, like an NVMe attachment. But, you know, you could still, like, you can get a lot out of them just with a RAM and a hard drive upgrade. I mean, there's probably no need to like just GPU obviously changes a lot. So if you're worried about AI stuff, then that's fine. But on a laptop, I don't think you care about doing a lot of AI. It's like if you're just testing models and stuff, you can do that on CPU. You don't really need to worry about that. But I'd worry if it doesn't support like a bunch of the AVX instructions. Like if it's old enough that you don't have like AVX like AVX2, you're probably paying a performance penalty on a lot of stuff, a lot of modern software. But anyway, would it be hard to make it where you could place a block with a key? No, not hard, but I'm not sure. Oh, do you want like a, you're saying for gameplay though, Cam? So no, it wouldn't be hard because I've got the level unrolled in memory. So it's just a question of calculating which block to drop it on and then setting that bit. Not hard. Not trivial. I mean, getting the bit math right, but totally not the game that 88-bit music made. I mean, for port, I'd be making a new game at that point. No, not useless. That'd be kind of fun. I mean, you get kind of like a Rocket League type, you know, firing dynamic. I would be happy with NeoVim, but in IntelliJ has excellent support for Flutter. There's nothing wrong with IntelliJ. I mean, it's really about having a machine that can run IntelliJ, not like IntelliJ as a work environment. It's great. I mean, if it suits whatever application programming environment you're working in. Like, so in the case of like Android, Java, I mean, IntelliJ is just fantastic as an IDE. I liked it a lot when I was using it. Like, they were one of the first serious IDs to support like machine refactoring. So, and that's all about saving. That's like dev productivity. Like when you're optimizing developer time at expense of hardware, I think you're making the right trade-off. Like if it makes programming more productive and less error prone, that's a great trade-off. That's part of the reason why I like languages like Python, which are super high level. Yeah, IntelliJ is great for Java, and a bunch of JVM type languages. And I'm including Dalvik and Art and, you know, the various Android runtimes, which are basically Java. So you're still, I know, lawsuit. No, it's not actually Java. I know it's not Java, but Oracle's not going anywhere with that lawsuit. Okay, so anyway, let's not get ourselves into legal trouble on stream. We are gaming. We're building a game. What are we doing? I don't know. This could be a good stopping point. I don't know. What do you think, chat? I mean, let's make it so that jump is feasible. So let's add a little bit more oomph to that jump. And I'm gonna just pop this closed. Let's throw a little more oomph on there. A lot more oomph. Okay, so I'm adding 4. I'm gonna add 4. This is why you really don't want to do this, but yeah, let's just, I want to double check my math at this point because I have a feeling I'm in trouble. So we're going from 31 to 9. So 31, 9, 22. So this bottom location of the pill is 22. So 21, 20, 19, 18. Okay, so let's change this to 18. See, I made that a developer problem, and now I have to deal with the bug. Better to shift that stuff to the compiler. Okay. Wow! This totally is a game! Look at this! Okay, we have some issues with collision there, but this... Yeah, this... Alright, so we have issues with, like, stopping in the middle of a tile. So that's fun, but this is totally turning into a game. Alright, I can't jump midair anymore. I can't move midair and jump. There it is. That's totally turning into a game. Alright, we're gonna have to tell Trevor soon. This is awesome. Ship it. Nice. He is on the moon. Python. I still love it. But I need static typing, and Python ain't gonna give me that. You can go pretty far with typing in Python if you're careful about it. Anthony writes code, who we're probably gonna raid momentarily. Super expert Python dev. He could tell you in great detail exactly what to do with typing and all that. But I just got here, Fafi. I know, Fafi. I've been going. I mean, we're in the third hour here. Nice, Dr. Derp, loving it. You're floating, 715. We're floating. Yep, on the moon. Exabyte. What is that? NIM. That is what NIM is for. Nice. Better watch out. This is some serious competition, says Fafi. Thank you for that. Okay, well, we're taking off. We're going to the moon. We're just... So our biggest issue here is that we're colliding mid like that, right? So you see how I just caught Bitboi in between a platform. This is showing up as a double collision, left and right. It's allowing the right move there. I can actually get myself totally caught. Yeah. So here I'm stuck left, I'm stuck right, I'm stuck down. Jump doesn't do a collision detect, so I can still jump myself out, but we shouldn't allow the player to stop in the middle. So we're gonna have to get a little smarter about our collision detect. We're not gonna check the whole tile. We need to basically just check if you've made it to the top of the tile. So we need to disallow this case. We need to make sure that you can't do this. Like, you can't just jump yourself into something. But I'm totally digging this. That is sweet. Yeah, see, this is what we have to worry about here. So we got to stop that. But NIM is like a bunch of languages in one. Dart or TypeScript, those are my choice. Oh, okay. Man, a little Saturday coding, just taking it easy and banging out some Bitboi. This is nice. All right, we're actually getting somewhere with this session. I've totally stayed above my 10 lines of code diff per hour. I think. No one check too closely, please. So I'm going to say that this is pretty solid. I just don't have the Myth 2 bug. Got me. All right, man, I'm digging this new music. Thank you again, Coffee with the Crew, for doing some excellent job putting this music together. All right, so what do we have here? This is our area over here. So this is, I think we can redesign our level a bit. I mean, I like that we can make this jump. Like, so this is nice that this jump works. I feel like that's probably as high as we should let the character jump. That seems pretty reasonable. Disallowing getting stuck in the middle of a block is going to be a blocker. More puns today. You gotta love it. Okay, so that's a little bit of a blocker. We're gonna have to get that sorted out. But assuming we sort that out, next up is we need to take these schlorps and turn them into real enemies. So I think that's probably gonna be the next stream. I don't feel like we should keep going on this bug. I mean, I'll go and diagnose this. For now, there's quicksand on the level. So all of these tiles are actually quicksand, and that's the story I'm going to go with. So we're gonna keep that. And I think that's probably going to be a good place to sort of wrap that up.